What's up everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be changing the brake pads in my G37 Sport calipers. Now when I say sport calipers, that means they have the sport brakes, so they're the bigger brakes. They are not going to be your standard brake pads and calipers that are on most other cars. So hopefully in the future I'll have a video on a non-sport caliper brake pad replacement, but for this episode it is going to be that, and let's just go ahead and dive right into it. So the first thing you're going to do, you're going to need to jack up your car and remove the wheels. We're going to start with the rear caliper first, and then we'll move on to the front a little bit later. Basically, let me try to get in here. There's going to be two pins right here and right here, and you got to pull this guy out, and then the pin's going to slide out. So let me go ahead and try to grab that for you. And if it's at an angle like that, this is not the best shot. But there is a Phillips head back here on the pin itself for you to put it in there and turn it like that, so that way you can get a better grasp on it, and then you just pull it out. Make sure to save it, and then what you'll do, you'll take your screwdriver, you'll push it through just like that. That causes the pin to come out, such as that. Oh, and there's a little tab right here you're going to want to hold. So doing this with one hand is next to impossible, especially without making y'all get super sick. Or you can just push it in all the way. The pin comes out, and then you repeat for the top. So once when you get those two pins out, this thing just pops out, such as that. Mine came with replacement ones, so I don't need to keep it, but make sure the brake pads that you buy either come with it or make sure you buy new ones. I'm sure you could reuse it, but better to not. So put that down, and then you'll see that there's going to be these ears right here. That's one pad. These ears right here, that's two pads. And normally you can wiggle them out again easier with two hands. Okay, so not gonna lie, it is not as easy as just pulling it out like I am. I pulled one out and I smashed my finger, and it didn't feel good. So what I had to do in my scenario, I took this tool and I just grabbed onto the ear, kind of pried it outward until it was loose enough to where I could get it by hand. Yeah, so just be careful. Alright, so what I'm gonna try to show y'all is once when you get the pads out, there's gonna be a caliper here and one on the other side, which is basically what's inside here. And I went ahead and did this just because there's no room to work up here. But what you're gonna want to do is take your thing in. You're just gonna kind of clean up that silver thing, and that way, because right now it's pushed out, so whenever you go to push it in, it's nice and clean, and you're not going to bring in a bunch of gunk and junk and all that jazz. So the next step is to push the caliper in. So what you can do is you can take the old brake pad, put the soft in, the actual material toward the caliper, and then just pull it until it gets nice and flat, and that should be enough room to get the new rotors in. And something you'll notice sometimes, you'll have to do one at a time, because all this does by pushing this in, it just pushes this one out if you just pushed it in. So do one at a time, put the brake pad in, then do the other side and put the brake pad in. So these are my new pads, and they just go, this will go in this way and that'll go in that way, or vice versa. Doesn't really matter which side goes where, as long as the curve section goes with the curve of the rotor. So this one, I have the pad open. Oh, before I do that, I'm gonna apply just a little bit of grease on the back. Don't need to go crazy with it, just enough, and then I'll just kind of spread it around. Probably should be wearing gloves, but it's just to help with squeaking. And then when that goes in, because this is also going to be traveling, you just want to put just enough up here on this end, and also down here on this end, because these are what are going to be riding that track per se. So that once we can get it all greased up, you're just gonna slide her on in. Boom. And then once when the brake is flush, like on the circumference side with the rotor, you know it's in all the way. Also because the pin won't go in unless it's lined up. So there's that. And then as far as those pins and materials before, I won't need them because mine came with replacements. So the first one, just gonna stick just right in here, and that's how it's gonna rest. So it literally just sits here. So what I should do, and what I should show you to do, is take, it's a good idea, and I will make your life a little easier on how my wife's hair is outside. All the fellows who are in a relationship, you hear me, as far as your spouse's
Did you just
hair.
find one of my hairs?
Yeah, your hair was just out here, and it got in my grease. Don't know how it's possible, but you managed to find a way.
It's so you know that I'm always with you.
Yeah, something like that. Alright, so I'm just gonna kind of grease up the pin a little bit. And then you'll just kind of get it started. And I'll actually do having new everything. And actually on here, I'm also going to just put a little bit of grease on my finger and just put a little dab there, a little dab there, a little bit in there, and same thing on the bottom. You basically can put grease wherever you want as long as it's not on the brake or the rotor itself. Some people who are watching this are saying duh, but who knows, this could be somebody's first time. So once when you have it in there, you'll have to press down on it to get that bad boy all the way through. Then same thing with this one. So I stand corrected. You actually do want to reuse the pins. You don't have to reuse the battery protector, brake protector. But you do want to reuse these pins. One, because the pins that at least came with mine are significantly longer, so they would stick like further out. And also this has like almost like a beveled head, whereas this is a flat head. So this, it just makes life way easier just to reuse. So I cleaned it up the best I could. I'm gonna put a little bit of grease on it. Get it nice and lubed up. And then put it through, push this down. Those little hair clip or bobby pins or paper clips or whatever you want to refer to them as is the next step, where you just slide those in and you're good to go. So take that, find the hole. There it is. Hole. And there it is. And that's it. That's how you replace the backs. So then we'll continue on to the fronts, which are basically the exact same, just more pistons. But here we go to the fronts. So the fronts are just like the back. You just have 2 pistons on each side as opposed to 1 piston on each side. But otherwise it's the exact same. You see this little clip right here. You're just gonna take that guy out. Boom. There's 1. There's 2. And then you just take a screwdriver into the end right here, push down on this tab right below the pin, and that just kind of helps relieve it. Sometimes. There it goes. There it goes. And then same thing. Actually, I'm gonna try to take this pin out all the way by holding it right here. There you go. So that pin comes out. And same thing with this one, just yoink. And then hold it down, let the pin out, and then this comes out. For me, all this stuff just gets thrown away because I have replacements, which is usually better to do. So then you should just be able to pull these out like so. There you go. So I would say compared to the new ones, like I had a decent amount of life left on this pad, but I was already changing the rears, so might as well change the fronts. These haven't been changed since I bought the car, so they're it's probably fine just to go ahead and replace them. So that's one. And then same thing with this side. You just pull it out and boom. Again, not too bad, but probably time to change them. So there goes that. And then I'm just gonna come in here and try to get all that grime and whatnot off. There's also some on this side. And if you really want to do a good job, you could take the whole rotor off, which I have a video coming out that'll show how to replace the front and rear rotor, so be on the lookout for that. That's probably the easiest way to do it, but overall you can get away. This is a nylon brush, so I'm not like using a copper or stainless that might potentially puncture the boot, because then we're in for a whole nother mess of stuff. But you just kind of want to try to get all this grime out of both the bottom and the top, just because this is where the brakes are going to be moving. And so I'm gonna finish this up, and then I'll show you how to push these back. It's the exact same as on the back. So I've cleaned it up, and I've already moved the pistons back on this side. So, all right. So there's the big boys. I've seen some people say that you want to retain this shim. I'm thinking it's probably going to be more dependent on what pad you get. If you get a pad that doesn't have like this backing or whatever, obviously you're going to want to use it. It's I mean, it's not hard to take off. That's all that it takes. But again, this is a pad that did not come with a backing, so therefore backing is here. So granted, this is a Nissan pad. You're going to take one, grease up the back, grease up the ears, and then slide it in. So something that's interesting about these brake pads that I bought specifically, which these are Stop Tech, they were just kind of recommended to me. I've not used these before, but what's interesting is on the sides right here, it actually has replace written in white. I think the camera's probably washing it out, or the light is, but so even before you get to the tab where it squeaks the rotor to tell you, hey, your brakes are bad, there's even lettering that tell you it as well. So technically you should check prior, which with them being on the outside, you can see right there. It's like, oh, probably need to change. So it's just neat. It's a neat little warning thing that I can very much appreciate. So then I just did the same thing. Yep. So then you just slide that in. And it looks like that is gonna be good. Yeah, so that's as far as that's gonna go. This will actually get pulled out a little bit. Thoughts as far as the pins go on the front versus the back. It looks like these are actually the same size, like they should have been. However, this is still a flat head, whereas this is a beveled head. So I'm gonna choose to use the original hardware as far as the pins go. Brake cleaner, clean it up a little bit, grease it up, should be fine. But I am going to use the new backing plate because it is the exact same as this one for the most part. It looks like this middle part, this is raised up a little bit, but I don't think that's going to matter. it's a good idea to replace these because they lose their springability. I don't know if that's really what you want to call it, but take your hair clip. I guess it's a pin clip. Whatever it is. You're just gonna harden the face. Boom. So that one's in. And that's pretty much it. That's how you change the brake pads in the front and in the rear. So overall, I hope this was helpful for you. If it was, please leave a like. It helps out a lot. And if you're interested in more projects or anything that I'm doing, feel free to click the subscribe button. Got a lot of good stuff coming. Really trying to be more active on my channel this year, and the goal is to get to 1,000. So go ahead, smash it. Smash this. Yes. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. And till the next one.